they were a certain age. So I give him the card, and they look at it. Yeah, this is the exact address. Yes, this is where we are, but there is no John here. I say, are you joking? This is no. And of course, during those days, I didn't have a cell phone, so I literally begged them because I only had $50 left in my pocket. I said, is there any way you could call that number for me? He said, yeah, let me call. And of course, the number went nowhere. So in other words, I'm still looking for John.
Oh, wow.
So explain that to me. Yeah, there is no accident for me to be led from England to the United States and to undergo two more incredible fifth kind connection with extraterrestrial, close encounter. So this is what happened. I got married to the beautiful American girl, got my green card, and a few years later, she was a model. So she was supposed to go to a beauty pageant in Anaheim, California. So I made the plan that we're supposed to exit at Catella and then from there to the hotel and do that beauty thing. So I said to her, we need to go to bed early so you can have your beauty sleep, so at least you'll have a chance. And then we went to bed. Now, in the middle of the night, my gosh, after 10 years of marriage, 8 years of marriage with her, I'd never seen her behaving this way. I thought I had to call 911. She was in the middle of the bedroom floor in a fetus position. She was crying. She was upset. She was trembling. She was in a panic attack. I said, what's wrong with you? She said, I don't know. Look under the bed. Look in the cupboard. Look down the basement, please. There's something here. I said, what are you talking about? If she had done this before, I would have understood her. But no, she never behaved like this in 11 years altogether that we've been together. So the next day, I couldn't sleep. She couldn't sleep after that. We didn't know what happened. I said to her, well, it's no point of you going there. You look like hell. She said, well, let's still go. Let's go because, Grandma is next door and we can go and see Grandma. So let's go. So I said, okay. Mostly she didn't want to stay in the house. I understood that later on. So, and then knowing that what happened with my brother in November 11, 1981, I decided to, after such an experience, to be very careful. I was prepared. Now, it was August 11, 1991. Again, okay? November 11, 1981 with my brother. August 11, 1991 with my wife. Here we go. I filled up the car, okay? And it was exactly 8 o'clock in the morning when we left Oceanside, California. And then as we were driving on the highway, I talked to her, and I said, hey, what happened to you last night? I wanted to find out if she was okay. And she goes, I don't want to talk about it. I said, but Brigitte, are you sure you're okay? She said, yeah, I'm okay. All right. And then she turned the radio on, like she didn't want to talk to me. She was still in shock. She couldn't understand what happened to her. But believe me, I found out afterwards. So we were driving, and then I passed a bridge on I-5 going north called Jamboree. That's the last thing I remember. And then as I passed the bridge, I didn't feel the wheels under the car, and I drove like into a cloud. So I thought, well, you know what, it's 8 o'clock in the morning or 10 minutes after 8, so maybe it's a marine layer. You got plenty of that in South California. So I didn't make much of it, and we drove. Now, listen to this. I find myself 35 miles per hour in the middle of the road on these little bumps that walk me up. And my wife was saying, what the hell? Pick up your speed. Pick up your speed. What are you doing? I said to her, honey, I have no idea where we are. She said, come on. I haven't seen the sign of Disneyland. I didn't see nothing yet. So come on. I don't want to be late. So I said to her, okay. And I kept driving. But I still could not really recognize my environment. So I decided to take off. And I went out to an exit. And then I drove to a parking lot, and there were three Mexican guys eating their breakfast in the back of a white Toyota truck. I never forget that. So I said to my wife, "Okay, I'll be right back. Just stay here." And I went to those guys and I said, "Excuse me, could you tell me where I am, please?" So they look at me like, maybe this guy smoked too much pot. And he said, and they said, "Oh, you are at the parking lot after Los Angeles at the zoo parking." I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "Yes." And then I said, "What time is it?" He said, "Oh, it's exactly 9 o'clock." Okay, wait a minute here. Wait a minute. Okay, in order for me to do those 90 miles, okay, because it was exactly 90 miles, distance that I don't know where the hell we did that, I would have to have a Ferrari, no traffic in LA, and no police car to stop me. That was the only way. So in other words, we've been dropped 90 miles north. Okay, it took me nearly 2 hours just to go back to the hotel where she was doing the pageant. Of course, we missed everything. She was not in the state to do that. All she did is to call her friend, and the friend came along and took my wife to Phoenix because she didn't want to go back into the house. Now, I was kind of very, very, very confused for a few days trying to find out what happened to us. And then I met this guy, Sean Atlanti, and he was the director of the UFO, the San Diego UFO group. And I don't know, somebody told me to contact him. So he came in my house, and I still have the recording. And he taped everything as fresh as possible to what happened. Then he says to me, "Look, I set up a meeting with 2 top hypnotherapists in Victorville, in California, and it's set for next week. So are you going to go?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "But you're going to have sodium panathol, something like that." I said, "Hey, I don't care whatever it is. I don't know what it was. So serum of truth, whatever it is." So when I saw those guys, we had a television in that room, we had camera. They froze the first frame and they froze the last frame an hour or an hour and a half later after the session. And I didn't move, not even anything moved, so I was really, really under. The only thing you see is me sweating bullets when I said I wasn't part of the flying saucer. So what happened, okay, in that regression is that as we were driving through Jamboree after the bridge, they suck the car inside the belly of a flying saucer, top of Los Angeles. Believe me, they can do that. Like making you seeing a restaurant open in the middle of nowhere in the south of France. It's not like McDonald's with a 24-hour operation in the south of France 30, 40 years ago. It's a long story. They can do a lot of things. So I was inside the flying saucers. I saw those 3 guys that I saw earlier that gave me a headache, those 3 men in black, okay, the Nordics, the management, so to speak. They opened my door, and I was saying to my wife, "Don't worry, honey, everything is fine. It's like, I've done this before, it's okay, everything's going to be just fine." Little did I know what I was going to witness.
Oh, wow. Now, I got to say, these are the same 3 guys that gave you that headache that lasted for weeks.
Yes,
okay.
Yeah, oh yeah, 3 of them. So from there, I followed them, and they opened the door, okay? It's like I was in the garage, okay? And then I opened the door and entered a room. It's a small room. I call it a decontamination room or something like that. The only thing I recall very well is look outside. There was like a little window outside, and I saw the earth the size of a football. So that tells you how high and how far we were on the mothership.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so I was walking. After a while, I got so hot, and I was complaining, I'm hot. And you can see, as they were videotaping me, literally sweating bullets. Literally, I was so hot. And I wet all my clothes as I was describing what was happening in that little room before I could enter inside of the flying saucer. Finally, I entered the flying saucer, the door opened, and I get in there, and I saw all the Greys working the electronics, flying the saucer, doing their stuff, whatever they were doing there. I was looking at this, but like if I've seen before, but I couldn't really remember. I was in peace. I was just fine. And then I was looking for a screen, and that's where I saw my wife. Okay, now listen to this. This is incredible. There were Greys working on my wife. She was pregnant, and they took the fetus. And then, incredibly, after everything was said and done, my wife showed me a 2-inch scar above the airline. Okay, and it was like a laser cut, so thin, so perfect. And believe me, after 10 years, I would know what's going on everywhere in the body part of my wife. That wasn't there before. So that is a certain proof. And I had also a scoop on my left leg myself, so that was weird. So as I was watching this, I knew it was time for me to do something else. So I went to another room. Nobody guided me. I knew exactly where to go. And that door opened, and I sat on something that looks like a chair. And something came down from the ceiling, okay, all the way down to my nose, so I couldn't see anything. Now, in that helmet, okay, and then you can see the flying saucers with my brother and the helmet that came down on my head. You can see that on my website. You can see the pictures. Again, if you go to drturi.com, you can get an idea of the trauma. The best way of my recollection of all these pictures is part of my slideshow when I do a UFO conference. So, next thing I know, I felt like electricity, concrete, glass, cold, hot, and it's like an implosion. I cannot describe. There is no word in English to describe the feeling of what's going on in my head. But one thing is sure, that's when they drop me, and I'll find myself at 30 miles on this bumper in the middle of the highway. But you can see the dramatic impact. Again, it's on my website. You can see all my walls in my house and my door. I painted it with all sorts of symbols, all sorts of astrological symbols, UFO symbols. Imagine my landlord when he came and picked up the rent, and he saw his entire house being painted with the UFO symbols in astrology. And that's where I started. I couldn't help myself. I started to rekindle
Louis,
Nostradamus' divine astrology.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I got to ask you a question, okay? Your landlord came in, and he saw these paintings on your walls. Now, I got to ask you a question. Were they paintings you hung on the wall, or did you paint the wall itself?
No. Painted. I bought some paint, different colors, red, blue, yellow, and I couldn't help myself.
What did your landlord do?
I painted the wall with a chain and a hand into the stars. I painted the human body with different parts of the body being affected by the stars. I painted the entire zodiac, the belt of the zodiac. I painted UFOs, me pointing a UFO, and you could see me. The picture of me is not me anymore. That's what's incredible. If you look at this picture and you look at me today, it's not the same guy. It's unbelievable. And that's why it was very important for me to crystallize this very dramatic experience in my walls.
Well, I got to ask you a question. What did your landlord do? I mean, did he just stand there with
my first client, and he loved me because I told him everything that was going to happen to him. He was amazed. He says, "How the hell do you know that?" And this is where I started to channel information. But he didn't fire me. In fact, I was his general manager for about 8-9 years in La Jolla, California. And I'm sure you heard of the wooded pizza in California. This guy came to me. He says one day, "Oh, Louis, I have only $30. I need a reading. What should I do?" I said, "Open pizza." And now the California wooded pizza is all over the world. I made this guy a billionaire.
Oh, wow.
I looked at his chart, and that's what he should do. And he trusted me. It's a long story. So what I'm trying to tell you is I thought that this is it. Okay, now it all starts to make sense. I'm supposed to rekindle Nostradamus' 16th century divine astrology. redo his software because he didn't have a watch or a computer 500 years ago. So I had to design a new software, which I did with Allen Software in Los Angeles. They did that for me. So I thought, this is it. That's it. That was my mission. Oh my gosh. Oh no, that's not it. There's more to it. There's more to it. Now, this happened in 2000.